Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the May 8th, 2025 Town of Monroe Planning Board meeting. Noreen, if we could start off with a roll call.
Bonnie Franson will be here shortly. Jeff Manson.
Here.
Pat Shea.
Here.
Dylan Penn is out. Robbie Garstack.
Here.
Lou Rivera.
Here.
He'll be covering for Dylan Penn.
Thank you. Before we get started, I just want to point out fire exits. It's the two double doors behind you. Off to my left, through these doors, and out to the right will take you to the front of the building. Through these double doors on my right, we'll take you out to the left. We'll take you right out on a porch and down the steps and out to the yard. If everyone will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay, so the first project we're working on tonight is the Target expansion.
Hello, Casey Lieberman from Kimley Horn here on behalf of Target Corporation as their owner's representative.
Have anything to update?
No big updates at all. Over the last couple months, we've hit Sean's remaining comments as well as Ashley's.
Sean, anything you'd like to review with us?
No, the applicant had satisfactorily addressed our comments the last meeting, so I think they're in a position for conditional final approval this evening. I believe Ashley's prepared that for you all.
Ashley?
Yes, I did prepare a resolution for the board's consideration.
Access to the television monitor?
Or I could go through, you have your standard general
Can I help you,
summary
sir?
and your,
Hold on a second. Can I help you, sir?
Next Tuesday.
go straight to the specific. I did make a couple of corrections to this first one, so I'll read it, the revised version. Number one, this approval is subject to a final engineering review of the materials. The plans shall not be signed until receipt of a letter from the planning board engineer certifying that he has found the plans submitted for signature to be in proper order. Number two, prior to the signing of the plans, the sheet index on sheet number C000 shall be revised to change the title of sheet number SL200 from site electrical plan to site lighting plan, consistent with the title on said plan sheet. Number three, the design of the structures, colors, materials, and architectural features shall be as shown on the plans identified above. Any deviations from the approved materials shall require an amended approval from the planning board. Number four, in accordance with sections 57, 56, sub J of the Town of Monroe Zoning Code, the interior illuminated sign shall utilize non-glaring lights. No red or green lights shall be permitted within 75 feet of the point of intersection of the street lines at a street corner, and no lights of the intermittent flashing type shall be permitted. Number five, this approval allows construction only of that which is shown on the plans identified above and is otherwise described herein. No outdoor amenities or accessory structures or outdoor fixtures, including but not limited to exterior walls, mechanical units, dumpsters, etc., may be constructed, placed, or erected without approval of the planning board. Architectural drawings shall carry a certification that what is shown thereon conforms to the approved plan. Number six, this approval results in the elimination of 5 parking spaces on Harriman Business Park Lot 4, based upon review of the parking evaluation done for Planning Board Project number 181-2019, second site plan amendment for RD Management LLC, Harriman Business Park Lot 4B N space, and the previously approved Target application project number 190-2021 for accessory storage containers. After this approval and approval of a separate application for Tesla Incorporated, project number 232-2024, that is also before the board, 71 excess parking spaces remain available for Lot 4. And number 7, except as hereby modified, all conditions and requirements attached to all earlier grants of site plan approval are to remain in effect, and this approval is subject to and conditioned upon satisfaction of same as if those conditions and requirements were set forth herein at length. And then you have your standard general conditions.
So in relation to the point number 6 about the parking spaces, so there's 5 parking spaces being eliminated by this project. Tesla is 3 total, so we're reducing by 8. Once we reduce the 8, that still leaves us 71 excess.
For Lot 4,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I just want to be comprehensive on that. We did get this afternoon comments from Karen Arendt's office in relation to landscaping.
I think that was for the Tesla
Tesla.
application.
Okay. I didn't know if it was strictly
I think
for
it said
Tesla.
Target Tesla,
It
but
did, so,
it was just for the Tesla.
okay. That's what it seemed to be, but that's what I wanted to just double check, that none of that related to this application. Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions in regards to the resolution or any final questions in relation to this project?
Not here.
They're moving parking to, they're going on the, now?
Correct.
I have no more questions.
Lou?
I have no questions.
Okay, I'm good as well then. Noreen, can we, well, so I guess I'd like to offer a motion that we adopt this resolution. May I have a second?
Second.
I think that was Lou first. It's kind of a photo finish on that one. Noreen?
Bonnie Franson. Aye. Jeff Manson.
Aye.
Pat Shea.
Aye.
Aye.
Robert Garcia.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you guys so much.
Night.
Don't miss me too much.
Okay.
Our next project this evening is Tesla charging station at Target. Okay.
Good evening. Franz Gertis here from Tesla. Repeat offender. Just here for the project. Since our last meeting, I think in March, I think at the March meeting we had conditional approval and you guys referred our application to Orange County. Orange County had no comments, so I was hoping to come.
Just for the record, there wasn't any approval yet. The board was indicating that they would be able to approve it, but they had to wait for the county to
My
have
mistake.
comments. So just a procedural clarification there.
My mistake. Yeah, so I'm back here today, and as you mentioned, we got those comments from Karen today. I'm not sure how that affects the application.
You have a chance to review those?
Yeah, I did review them.
Okay. Anything that you saw as a issue for yourself?
No,
Yeah.
if the board, whatever the board needs out of there, we can comply with. That's not a problem.
Okay. Sean, any comments for us?
Nothing new on this.
Ashley?
Nothing.
Anyone on the board have any questions for Tesla before we review the resolution? No. Good.
I do not.
I do. If we've all received this from, what's her name? Karen Arendt. Last picture showing the, you know what they are?
The last photo? It's showing an example of one of the trees that they recommend that Tesla not use going forward, and I believe there was a request to replace some of those?
Yeah, I think she labels it in one of the comments. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it was like a yew shrub or something like that.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
Right, so it's just showing a visual of why one of those
and I
comments.
have no
were
other
raised.
comment.
Thank you. All right, I'll review the resolution then. So this application, Tesla Inc. has applied for approval of site plan to install 4 Tesla electronic vehicle charging stations in the parking lot of an existing Target retail store and all associated equipment, underground conduit routing, and site work. Proposed work, installation of 4 Tesla supercharger units with 1 supercharger cabinet and 1 600-amp service disconnect, 4 charge posts, 1 H-frame mounted utility meter, 1 H-frame mounted PT cabinet, 1 pad mounted CT cabinet, and 1 pad mounted utility transformer. We talk about the property that's involved, the zoning district. This is in the LI district and the business park overlay. A review of everything that was submitted by the applicant and a little bit on the history on that. No public hearing was required for this project. In relation to seeker, this is a type 2 action, so it's not subject to review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. It had been referred to Orange County Planning due to its location. Orange County Planning determined that this is for local determination and that there was no comments in the letter. Under findings, the planning board has determined that the approval of this site plan amendment will substantially serve the public convenience, safety, and welfare, will have a harmonious relationship with the existing or permitted development of contiguous land or of adjacent neighborhoods, will not be detrimental to the neighborhood or residents thereof, and will not otherwise be detrimental to the public convenience or welfare, subject to full compliance in the conditions imposed pursuant to Section 5716G. The board is further determined in exercising its powers of architectural review that the exterior design, arrangement, textures, and materials proposed to be used are architecturally appropriate and visually compatible with the existing buildings and environment, that the alterations are consistent with the architectural styles of the existing building and surrounding area, and that structures are otherwise compliant with the standards of 5731 of the Town of Monroe Zoning Code. There are no public improvements, so the improvement security. Now, therefore, the planning board resolves to approve this site plan as said proposal is depicted on the plans and submittals identified above and upon the conditions outlined below, that the chairwoman or a planning board designee is authorized to sign the plans upon satisfaction of the conditions below, noted to be conditions precedent to such signing.
Jeff, if you want me to go over the first 2, I filled in the dates there, so I'll read them as I've modified them.
Great.
Number 1, this approval is subject to a final engineering review of the materials. The plan shall not be signed until receipt of a letter from the planning board engineer certifying that all deficiencies noted in his memo of March 18th, 2025 have been remedied to his satisfaction and that he has found the plans submitted for signature to be in proper order. Number 2, prior to the signing of the plans, the applicant shall comply with all outstanding comments of the planning board's landscape architect, Karen Arendt, landscape architect. The plan shall not be signed until receipt of a letter from the planning board landscape consultant certifying that all deficiencies noted in her memo of May 8th, 2025, and any other reasonable requirements of said consultant have been remedied to her satisfaction.
The design of the structures, colors, materials, and architectural features should be as shown on the plans identified above. Any deviation from the approved materials shall require an amended approval from the planning board. This approval allows construction of only that which is shown on the plans identified above or is otherwise described herein. No other outdoor amenities or accessory structures or outdoor fixtures, including, but not limited to, exterior walls, mechanical units, dumpsters, etc., may be constructed, placed, or erected without approval of the planning board. Architectural drawings shall carry a certification that what is shown thereon conforms to the approved plan. This approval results in the elimination of 3 parking spaces on Harriman Business Park Lot 4. Based on review of the parking evaluation done for Planning Board Project 181-2019, second site amendment for RD management, and the previous approved target application, Project 190-2021 for accessory storage containers, after this approval and approval of a separate application for target, Project 234-2024, that is also before the board, 71 excess parking spaces remain available for Lot 4. Except as hereby modified, all conditions and requirements attached to all earlier grants of site plan or approval are to remain in effect, and this approval is subject to and conditioned upon satisfaction of same as if those conditions and requirements were set forth herein at length. Go through some general conditions that we have in our resolutions about what needs to be submitted, that everything is in, that the planning board needs to satisfy these conditions in 180 days, that if they fail to satisfy the conditions in that period, it shall render the site plan approval void, but the planning board, upon good cause, may extend the period for an additional 180 days. It's conditioned on all federal, state, local laws and regulations. Approval is further conditioned upon the applicant delivering proof in writing that all fees and expenses owed to the town for all land use applications in regard to this project or site have been fully paid. Fully completed entity disclosure statement signed or either sworn to or affirmed by the applicant referenced above is on file with the board. If the right to develop this project is sold or otherwise transferred, then a new entity disclosure form will need to be submitted. Site plan approved by the planning board shall be binding upon the applicant and any subsequent owner. No changes, erasures, modifications, or revisions shall be made to the site plan after approval has been granted by the board and endorsed in writing on the site plan. Otherwise, the site plan shall be deemed void. Any changes from the approved plan shall require resubmission or reapproval by the planning board. No deviation from the plans, reports, documents that form the basis of this approval are effective unless and until amendment to this approval is secured by planning board in writing. The approval shall be in effect for a period of 2 years from the date this resolution is adopted, notwithstanding any exception granted. If at the end of the 2-year period the applicant has not commenced construction, the site plan shall automatically expire. If at the end of 3 years from the date of this approval, construction is not completed and a certificate of occupancy issued, the site plan shall automatically expire and the applicant must apply for site plan chapter. I have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Thank you, Pat. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Lou. Noreen?
Bob Gorstak,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Francis,
Aye.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Very much.
Awesome, thank you. I do have a question.
Go right ahead.
Sean, for that first requirement, you are already set, right? I complied with everything you had.
I have no additional comments.
Okay, perfect. And then for Karen's comments, I got to get her approval before I send the application to the building department, right? For the building permit?
So you should coordinate with her and keep Noreen in the loop to satisfy Karen's comments. She'll send a letter once she's satisfied.
Okay.
And then you'll have to address all the other conditions of approval. And once the planning board engineer and sign off on it, and then you can get signed plans. With those signed plans, you can go apply for a building permit.
Okay. And then Noreen, I'll just work with you to get Karen's info. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we have a couple of applications from Walmart. We're going to start with the Walmart expansion application.
A note procedurally, I think we had talked about it the last time, merging these two, because they really need to be looked at together for the purposes of seeker, and I think it just makes sense to have a single plan showing everything rather than two different applications. So moving forward, if you could just combine these applications, show the storage containers, the building expansion, everything with just one submission.
For sake of procedure, is there anything we need to do do we have to approve or?
No, I think that we'll just, merge the two, and they'll just be noted as one item on the agenda. You could use both project numbers still, but I think just because that makes the most sense. I don't know if you could merge the escrows on them, that way. I know I haven't been dividing my time, so.
No problem.
Good evening, sir. Well, just introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Donald Flood. I'm from Dewberry Engineers and representing this Walmart project.
Sorry, I missed your first.
Donald. Yep, Flood, Flood.
We could just ask you to get a little closer to the microphone.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Okay.
I believe it can extend out towards you a
Maybe I
little.
can pull it towards me, or maybe I'll sit in this one. Is this better?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, if you'd like to just give us an overview of where we're at this point.
Where we're at, we did receive comments, and we did respond to those comments. We received comments from MHE on February 13th, and we did respond to each one of these comments and submitted our comments and revised plans. Any questions on it?
Sean, would you like to review your additional comments?
Sure. With regards to the expansion, as you know, they're expanding the pickup similar to Target, except they're expanding the building and relocating, or I should say adding some additional pickup spots in that northwest corner of the building. The applicant did provide a parking calculation for the site, and since the building is expanding and the number of spots are going down that are provided, it appears that a variance for parking will need to be obtained. Maybe we should just confirm that with Ashley.
Yes.
Additionally, and I kind of have a mirroring comment in both comment memos because I did prepare them separately as two applications. Because of the additional trailer storage, that will also take up additional parking spots that cannot count towards the provided parking. With regards to the pickup location, Walmart's proposing additional signage, directional signage, to get people from Larkin Drive coming from from 17 to the new pickup spots, and those signs are located within Woodbury. So I believe a site plan amendment would also have to need to be obtained from the village.
I think it may be something that the building department can do if it's just directional, but one or the other, something from the village.
Some type of approval will be needed from the village. I had a few technical comments on roof leaders and some of the restriping details. And then similar to the Target application, it's kind of, the pickup spots are more or less in the same location as Target relative to the building. So I thought the sign that Target was proposing was a pretty good idea to try to slow people down where they have to cross the parking aisle. So I asked Walmart to also provide that sign, and I provided you with the MUTCD sign in my comments, so that you can refer to that. And then I think at the February meeting, last time this was before the board had asked for an updated EAF for both projects combined, so I think that'll have to be provided before the board circulates, which they may have voted to last time, but we're waiting on the revised EAF.
Yes, and Noreen actually got that after this submission, so they submitted it, I think, a couple days ago.
Oh, my apologies, I didn't see that.
So I don't know if you were included on that, but I did do the circulation, so May 1st, so you'll have 30 days from then before you can assume lead agency.
All I had.
Talked about seeker, it does require referral to the county under GML as well. I had a couple of additional comments, and I have mine kind of lumped together here for both aspects. So the first, the narrative you provided, that was helpful, but there is a typo. So it says 50, 34 in parens, 20-foot trailer. So I think you mean to say 34 20-foot trailers. She has that up on the screen.
Okay.
if that's helpful.
Yep.
Because my understanding is it's a total of 38 trailers, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so just to correct that, that typo. We have, I don't believe we heard back from Ben, right, on the determination?
Not that I recall, no.
So Sean had reached out to Ben. You might recall we discussed last time that for the Target application where there was accessory storage containers, the building inspector determined them to be accessory to the retail use. We've just asked the building inspector to confirm that, since here you're proposing a lot more storage containers than were proposed in that case. So we're waiting on that confirmation from the building department. You do have architectural review, so you'll need architectural details for the building addition, the storage containers as well, which there's not much architecturally there, but the color, that type of thing, color materials. As Sean noted, it does require a parking variance, so you'll want to verify that your parking calculation includes the reduction in spaces from both the building addition and also the spaces that are going away because of the storage containers. And just items for the application forms. An owner's endorsement wasn't signed by the owner LLC, and I have some other comments. I could just email those to Noreen, that way she could share those with you.
If the board has questions or comments, start with you, Lou.
So going back to that 3450, what exactly was that? Can you
It
explain
is
that?
34 and 4. So there's 34 20-foot long storage containers and 4 53-foot long storage
And
containers.
this is in the rear.
It's in the rear of the building, yes.
That again.
Excuse me?
Would you please say that again?
It is in the rear of the building.
I apologize.
No problem.
The comment you made before that there's 34,
There's 34 20-foot long containers, and then there's 4 53-foot long containers.
So in terms of my comment, narrative, it's against Walmart policy to store dangerous items such as guns, chemicals, bullets, food, et cetera, in these containers. I'd like a note on the plans, if they're not there already, that says dangerous items such as guns, chemicals, bullets, food, et cetera, shall not be stored in containers. Anything putrescible, if that's the right word. Putrescible? P-U-T-R-E, putres.
Yes.
S-C-I-B-L-E. I think it means food that can go bad.
Okay.
I just don't know if I
Learn
pronounced
something
it.
new every day. Huh?
Spoilable.
That's a good one.
Spoiled. Anything that can spoil.
so putrefied.
I believe that's called putrescible.
Liable to decay,
There you
something
go.
that is liable to decay.
See?
Not playing Scrabble with you.
Have to use
My
that.
brain's working today. And then I just had a question. So it may not be your policy, but your policy could change. So I don't think we want those things stored in containers, so we just rather have a note on the plan. Then in one of the paragraphs, you say, during the holiday season, Walmart estimates that they make more than Target in a year. Did you mean more than their Target, or you're comparing yourself to Target?
I am not quite sure of that, because now that you said more than their target, maybe that is a typo, but I had originally thought it was more than target.
Okay. Unless they're saying,
I thought it
like,
was kind of a reason
Target-
why they need more storage containers than
That's why we
Target.
would
That's how
need
I was
more.
reading it.
Right, so Target has like maybe three or
Three.
so, but you're saying you need a lot more.
Correct.
Now, are these being fully removed after these seasons?
They are going to be removed in late December or January.
Okay, so
It was
can
from
we-
September to January is
Yeah,
the
because
timeframe.
you have September and December, so if we can just add a note, trailers shall be removed by, we could put it either in the decision or even as a note, because I don't want these things
Yeah, what I was
what's been
thinking-
expressed is that this is just seasonal.
Yeah.
And we had talked about, obviously, many of these retailers are selling items that they don't keep in the stores. And so, again, this was just, you expressed that this was going to be purely seasonal. So to ensure that, I'd like kind of specific notes on the plan so that, if Ben's out there, he can take care of it.
I think for this one too, we could always attach the narrative to the resolution and, make that compliance with the narrative in whole a requirement in addition to those specific notes for the timing.
Did you want to, similar to when they have to be removed, did you want to limit when they can be placed? So that they're by January 10th, but then they can place them January 25th and then be there all year?
Probably have to have,
Yeah,
I know they say
can't-
September.
that's a
I'm
good
just-
point,
yeah,
So to say, pick the end date and the start date.
Right.
right.
January 10th, the date they gave?
I just use that arbitrarily.
Now, it'd be good if you talk to Walmart. I have no idea if they sometimes actually bring in trailers seasonal, garden. So if we put this kind of note on the plan, then you're not going to have the option to have a couple of trailers. So I would definitely ask them, if there's, again, like 3 or 4 trailers as they do for Target, I think we can consider that, but we should know before we put notes on the plans. And then, because this narrative is going to get attached to the resolution, as you suggest, it's all about the customers, et cetera, et cetera. Although 38 containers are proposed as part of this permit request, a total of 35 containers were used during the 2023 holiday season. Total number of containers varies year by year, plus or minus 4 containers. If that would mean that you'd get up to 39 containers. So I don't know if that was just like a general statement, but you're certain that 38 is the number.
That's what we are proposing, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe change to say plus or minus 3 containers?
Bob?
Are we to understand then that these, Bonnie, if you would leave that down towards the bottom, that the containers are going to be picked up every year?
That is the plan.
Okay. When you're saying Walmart would like to request the containers not be screened, if I remember correctly, we were talking about screening them from the back so that they're not visible to the people that live in the next community.
And that would be like landscaping, or a landscape screen.
Yes, and I don't see how that would confuse people going into these containers from either the front or the sides. And the capital T in Target is just braggadocio from Walmart there, which is classic.
And I think that to the extent the board's going to require that screening, the narrative should be modified in that regard too.
Yep, and it will be only in the rear, not looking for screen fencing in the front or anything like that.
My understanding
think-
is,
Go ahead.
yeah, just in the rear.
To screen it from the residents that live more or less to the east within Harriman, right? Was the intent?
If it was needed, relative to where they proposed. So it's up here, as long as they're not visible.
So they're no longer proposing trailers along that eastern boundary anymore? The nearest ones will be more or less where your cursor is, Bonnie?
Back in here.
Right.
And back there,
And
it
in
really goes.
winter, they're still not visible.
No, it really goes into the hillside, and the only place to really look down on that, even in leaf-off conditions, is from the parking lot, say across from the Dollar Tree or something like that. If you were really going out of your way to take a look down there, you could see it. But aside from that, I took the opportunity before the the expansion project, but I went to look when the trailers were originally proposed and see just what it was like back there. And there's no reason for anyone from the general public to be back behind Walmart. So I don't think we need to worry about screening from inside the project site.
Okay, so we can just probably note as needed, and there is that is the actual drawing that shows the new layout.
So these are like they're 20-foot trailers, they're little trailers?
They are.
And if they're kind of stacked that way, do they have doors on the side?
I believe the ones to the right have doors on the side. The ones that are stacked straight on would have doors in the front.
So, because you have these going to the side and you have these,
Correct.
but
Those
they
going
all have to
straight
be accessible.
They all need to be accessible.
So have you shown enough space to either get to the back of them or the side of them, depending on the orientation?
They will be put so that they are accessible, so there is door either in the front or the side. They would have their entry in the front or the side, depending on those would be in the front. Well, on the short end, that's where they would be. And then the longer ones would probably have a side entry.
So they can
So
have
that
it either
be
way?
accessible.
Okay.
The ones I'm curious about are the 40-foot length, Bonnie, if it's right, where there's the two stacked behind the others. It doesn't look, I would imagine those are accessed through the end, at least the ones in the back, and it just doesn't look like you've left enough room for the doors to swing open.
We'll check that.
It's an 8-foot width trailer, so they're 4-foot doors.
Yeah, and
I don't have a little measury thing, but just proportionally, it doesn't look like you'd be able to get in there.
And I think what we want to then be very specific on is we need to make sure the placement makes sense because it may take up more space, parking space, if they have to be
Right.
spread out a little. So we just want to make sure that, a realistic arrangement, this may be a realistic arrangement, just make sure it's a realistic arrangement because you're going to have to get a variance for taking away the parking during these time periods.
So we should probably indicate how each of the trailers would be accessed.
That would be useful.
Yep.
And again, if you need to shift, just shift them now before you go to the ZBA.
Yes.
I don't know if it's possible to show, like something with a radius showing that where the doors swing open to, just so that it shows that it's feasible to access each of the containers however they are going to be accessed. Pat, I'm sorry. Did you have comments or you were good? Okay. I have a couple of questions. So I understand this is being proposed as a seasonal use, but a perennial seasonal use over and over. I see that in conjunction, Walmart is proposing to expand their pickup area and expand the building to do that. And I'm wondering why they're not considering just doing an expansion of the building as part of this for this use as well.
I would have to check with Walmart on that. I wouldn't be able to answer that. Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm sure they've done, I guess, some sort of financial analysis that determined that this was probably the best bet.
So for the Target application, it was determined to be accessory to the retail use, storing extra merchandise, but we've asked Ben for a determination on this one, since there's a lot more storage containers than there was for Target. We haven't gotten a confirmation yet.
I was going to ask is there the ability to get a renewal? So if we had a special use permit, we might have a time frame.
That wouldn't be a special use permit, though.
Yeah, not.
It would just be accessory to the retail
Accessory.
use.
Is there any road traffic in the back here? And if there is, my point here, asking them, same way we ask to look at their fact that there's road traffic. If there's road traffic back here and the Walmart employees are going to be walking out and crossing that, is that something we need to address? If there's no road traffic back here, it's strictly blocked off from road traffic during this time that after these are delivered, then we don't have to consider it at all.
So
If
this-
it's not blocked off.
This
then-
is kind of different than Target in a couple of ways. So around the back of Target, trucks come in around the back of Target, not only to deliver to Target, but to get to the rest of the stores in the plaza. In Walmart, that isn't the same. Because Walmart is in the corner, so to speak, only Walmart traffic should really be behind Walmart. Also, where the pickup spaces are in Target, although they're similarly located now to how Walmart does it, there's an entrance into the parking lot for consumer traffic coming through that aisle. Walmart doesn't have that issue. There isn't through traffic in the space between where the expansion is going to be and where the pickup space are. The only people that realistically are going to be driving there are either people who are picking up or maybe some store employees who like to park around the side. So where Target has through traffic coming through to the main part of the parking lot, this doesn't really provide that. There's no benefit for consumers to travel there unless, again, they're using the pickup spaces.
Yeah, just the pickup space, and will be no parking spaces back there for them to go to either. So it would be pretty much.
I mean, I agree with Sean's comment that some additional marking for pedestrian safety is warranted. It's not quite the same situation that we have at Target.
And then the traffic in the rear, Bob, would just be, I think, the deliveries to the actual, so the
Right.
deliveries to the Walmart as opposed to regular vehicle traffic.
It's the tractor trailers and some box trucks for some direct vendors.
And it also, I don't think can be, closed off because it's part of fire access to get around the building.
That's correct.
Yeah.
By that, well, closed off as far as there being signage letting people know that there's still active traffic, not that there would be blockades stopping people from driving.
How many spaces are being proposed to add to the pickup spaces? We had done one project a few years ago where we had added an addition of 8.
That is, if you scroll into the.
Is there a particular sheet you'd like me to turn?
Yeah, I mean that one is showing all the new pickup spaces, and I think the previous is showing the quote-unquote demolition of the existing spaces.
One thing I'll note that's different from the Target pickup is that Target was using or creating these couplets of parking, and then they had spaces that you didn't park in because the people who were working, the Walmart, well, the Target employees, could access the car from either side. And so they put that space on either side of the cars for that purpose. This looks like it's just regular parking spaces that are being called out as spaces for pickup, and I guess they're gonna have to put it in their, well, they'll have to figure out how they're gonna get it in. Unless those bars provide some space. Like I don't know if these are painted bars?
I believe they are.
Pickup spaces are marked out at being a little large, right? Typically, our spaces are 9 feet. and
9
these-
by 18, and those are 10
These are
foot
10,
wide. Yeah.
so.
Plus the 2 foot for the bars, so they are oversized. That, I believe they are, yeah. code still happens.
With the expansion of the building, what's being eliminated where the building is going to, size is going to be increased? Is that current walkway? Is that current driveway space?
There is
Curbside.
concrete and asphalt that is being added, yes.
Excuse me.
Can you explain where the employees are coming out from? Is it this door? Is it this door? Because I think we raised this previously,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
with regard to crosswalks, or if they're coming out here and they have to go to the back, to have enough of an area that's somehow identified or designated for employees to walk.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the Walmart process in that. So I don't know what they're coming out of or what they're coming in of, but there is the door on the, up top and the one up in the front of the building.
I think it would be,
Bonnie, if you scroll down just a little bit, there's a double door that faces page down, and then there's a crosswalk right there. I assumed that they came out of the double door and came across that crosswalk.
I would assume too, there's also a door in the rear, so.
There is, and it's only a single door, it's not a double.
right, so I wasn't sure what was going on back in here.
Right. Which that one may only be for egress.
But
Are these doors?
I took those as existing double doors that may remain when that's the existing exterior of the building, so.
Right, and so
Right.
I am not quite sure.
all these features,
Yep.
I was assuming those existing double doors went into where the existing pickup area is, right?
Right.
Because at the time when they added the spaces, they expanded the pickup area with a freezer room, a refrigerated room, dry storage, and that this is going to connect the existing space into the new space.
That's how I took it as well. Yep. Bless you.
Maybe clarify in your next submission how many pickup spaces are being removed and then how many are being added and kind of the net increase, I guess, of pickup spaces? I don't know if that's clear anywhere. I don't think it is.
And I know that some of the existing spaces have a covering over them where the cars pull under, and I'm wondering if that's going to be expanded too into the new spaces. I believe when the 8 additional spaces were, there was no additional covering added, but I didn't know if Walmart was going to change that.
Yeah, right now the plan shows no canopies on those spaces, but
a roof access ladder.
okay. Yeah, we did have some architectural drawings.
Funny, I pulled, and the pickup spaces are substantially larger or wider than the standard spaces. I assume.
I think this is the,
Right, where your cursor is where the grocery entrance is. And
talking about right here.
yeah.
And correct me if I'm mistaken, that area has like a canopy, right, above it? I've been there a few times to pick up myself.
By
the actual parking spaces where you pick up,
They have like a, yeah, they do have a
like,
canopy.
like canopy, right?
Yeah. There you go.
What's the name of
Sorry?
the PDF name, that file?
F is, so,
That's the rear.
That's, but that is the side on the rear that the, yeah. Right.
Right.
that's showing the proposed doesn't show, fire access.
The,
They're on the ends.
yeah, the doors aren't facing,
Oh, so they're on the
right.
portion of the facade that's,
Yep.
so it actually should
Into the
see it.
page.
Right, you can see, or
Is it here?
There is a door there.
the gray to the right of the ladder would be,
I thought it was a single entry in the back.
Unless that's the fence.
Maybe.
But you're going to confirm whether or not that door, that back door, if it's just a fire egress door, or if it's potentially being used for deliveries too. Because I think we want something that takes the employees down the side of the building. And does that striped area need to be wider for them to then go over to the, or are they just coming right across and going down the median?
Are you, do you have the plan view? I believe the employees would come out of the front door, and there is that striped area. No, no, if you see the, that's not the view. Wouldn't be an architectural type drawing. Yeah, towards the back, actually, I think has the new striping. There, right there.
Like a center court? corridor for them to walk this way, then likelihood they. That's the case, then one of two things, either the corridor placed or you need to add something. As you could see, this access is definitely not the, I should say the pedestrian crosswalk. That width, very thin.
I believe that's showing the asphalt that's going to be removed.
Oh, this isn't the,
Well, that is the crosswalk.
Oh, okay.
The other, I don't think is a striped area. That's next to, yeah, that is, I believe, the asphalt to be removed. If you look on the notes.
well, so from my perspective, you understand the request.
I understand.
I don't have anything else. Any other questions we can answer for you at this point?
I think I understand. We'll get your comments and update these plans. We will talk with Walmart regarding their process, is what we need to do.
Right, it would definitely help to understand that better.
Yep.
For what it's worth, this was the same process Target went through.
To that point, for what it's worth, no matter what you provide for the employees as far as striping and crosswalks and all of those things, they will take the most direct route from that door to that space and back. Not just in the cold weather, not just in the rain, but anytime. That's just nature of the beast. So I think to Sean's point and Bob's point, anything that calms the traffic of people who are going back and forth in those spaces is beneficial.
I mean, the good thing is with the trailers in the back and this, there will be limited traffic going back in this area. The only people that would go here would be the people picking up. But we'll take a look at that, the Target, see how that went. We'll talk to the Walmart people, and we'll figure something out.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, Raywood, do we have anything to handle with them this evening, or?
There was an extension request for was it Lot 2? That was approved in 2024. So, Lot 2? Oh, Lot 1, I'm sorry. So the approval was granted November 14th, 2024, so it's set to expire on May 13th. They've asked for an extension as they've finalized some of these outstanding conditions. Your code does allow you to extend site plan approvals for one 180-day period and special use permits for not more than two 90-day periods. So I would suggest that the board approve a motion to extend the conditional site plan and special use permit approval for 180 days, which would bring it to November 9th, 2025.
Do we have any idea from the applicant what conditions they're having issues with? We don't have details on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's specified.
Okay. So I'll make the motion that we grant an extension for this project till November 9th. May I have a second?
Blue is good. But I will add that it's conditioned on if they need another extension. Can
They
get-
won't be eligible
Oh, they
for,
won't, okay,
for a
because I was
site
going to
plan.
say they should provide a reason for the extension. So if we get requests for extensions in the future, we should ask them to provide a reason why they need the extension.
Suppose we need to, won't be,
Yes, we could do that when we of this extent.
Maureen?
I'm actually,
Sorry.
I have that date.
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
aye.
Aye.
Okay. Our last application for this evening is the accessory apartment for Beto.
Want me to draft it?
Good evening, sir. If you could remind us your name for the record.
Yeah, hello. I'm Robert Kochek. I'm a designer and owner representative for Ilona Bito at 122 Ledlam Road. So I'm proposing an accessory apartment in a single-family residence. And just to refresh everyone, I presented this project at a preliminary planning board meeting last June, at which time I was referred to the zoning board for an area variance, which was decided and granted, approved in August. And also at the original planning board meeting, Sean and Ashley put together a list of technical comments and requirements for approval relative to the town codes. So in the plans that I've resubmitted, I've incorporated those suggestions, requirements, regulations. And with the package that I presented, I also included the ZBA decision, Sean's list of original requirements, and then letters from Brian Friedler, the engineer who tested the water and septic. It was under his supervision. So that's kind of the package.
Sean, you have any comments for us at this point?
Sure. So in my comment number 3 there, you'll see a number of notes that I suggested be added to the plans. Those are straight from the special use permit requirements for the accessory apartment. I think they're pretty straightforward, and my understanding is that they should not be an issue, such as the owner needs to reside on the property. There shouldn't be more than one accessory apartment. You'll need to comply with the fire code and the building code. And there shouldn't be any accessory use accessory to the accessory apartment. Those are pretty straightforward. Just ask that those notes be added to the plan. As it was mentioned, there was a letter from Brian Friedler, who's an engineer, who certified that the septic system and the well are adequate to serve the additional accessory apartment. Our office takes no exception to that. And then I just asked that the approval box be added to the lower right-hand corner of the drawing in the lower right-hand fold for signature.
As for the Airwoman 2 box.
I suggested
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
So that the approval box is of sufficient size so that we can sign it.
I suggested 4 inches by 2 inches tall, so.
Thank you.
So I can make these, revisions and then resubmit the plans, correct?
So unless Ashley has something of significance, we do have a resolution, so these could be made, if they're not already, conditions of approval. Is there anything holding us up?
No, I believe that's it, and I think I already have your standard condition to comply with Sean's memo, so those would be incorporated by that. A couple of other changes to the plan, so I don't know if I noted this one in my conditions or not, but I'm just realizing that on the plan, you talk about the size being 335 square feet, but I believe it's 335.5 based on the ZBA decision. So if you could just make that correction to your plan sheets where you say 335, say 335.5. And another item was, I don't believe the dimensions of the parking spaces were correct. They need to be 9 by 18. I think they were, I'm just trying to find what sheet they were on, but I thought they were a little shy of that. It's not saying you don't have the space, but just the dimensions have to be updated on the plan.
Yeah, I believe that's the measure I used, 9 by 18.
On what sheet?
That's the cover sheet, first one.
You're saying that they're 18 by 8 feet 6 inches, so they're a little shy of the 9 by. One other item is which I could get to if you want to pull up the resolution body, and then as I have more comments, I could get to them. One item I did question was the plans I got electronically didn't have a revision date. I wasn't sure if there was one on the hard copy. That resolution, I don't know if anyone has the
Hard copy?
The date on there on the plans is 4/23/25.
Okay, so it just wasn't on the electronic copy, so I'll add that into
Right.
the
Yeah, it
plans.
looks like it was handwritten in. Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments before we review this resolution?
I do not.
Good, Lou? Thank you, and I'm good. Just trying to pull up the resolution here.
There were a couple of items that we had been waiting on, the updated owner's affidavit, which was provided, and also the certificate of occupancy for the addition that was constructed in 2000. So that verifies the house has been in existence for more than 10 years. I've added the revision date of 4/23/25 to the list of plans. It's a type 2 action under seeker, and it does not require referral to the county. I do have your findings that begin on page 4. There's specific findings for the accessory apartment not special permit, but the accessory apartment permit in the code. So I've gone through explaining that all of those are satisfied. I do have one, I think, outstanding question was about the maximum lot coverage. So that's highlighted there. I didn't see that it was actually calculated, but I think it's clear it's under or it complies with the 15%.
And there's no proposed changes to the lot coverage.
So I would just, in that finding J, I would just end it, just delete the second sentence. It'll just say, no increase in lot coverage is proposed, and the maximum lot coverage for the single-family detached dwelling applicable to the zoning district within which it's located is not exceeded. So I would just delete that second sentence. And then we've talked about the wastewater and well, that's been confirmed.
Anything special in the specific conditions that we should be aware
Specific
of?
conditions, so number 1, I've added in Sean's latest review memo date, and that's dated May 8th. Under 2, where I have the plan revision, so your first specific condition is final sign-off and engineering review. 2 is prior to the signing of the plans, the plan shall be revised as follows: to show the 4 parking spaces have a minimum width of 9 feet and a minimum length of 18 feet to the satisfaction of the planning board engineer. B, provide the existing, well, actually, I'm going to take that one out. We won't have to provide the existing proposed lot coverage, but instead I will, or I guess you could leave that in, provide the existing proposed lot coverage, and I will add a C to change the references to 335 square feet to 335.5. And those were my only.
Thank you. So, may I have a motion to approve this resolution for this accessory apartment?
I will make a motion as amended.
May I have a second?
One thing,
Sorry.
on page 4, there under C, it does have 335.5.
On what page was that?
Page 4.
Page 4,
So on our resolution, it does. On the plans themselves,
Okay.
it says 335.
Have a second?
second.
Maureen?
Bob Garstak,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Lou Rivera.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just one question.
Yes.
In that, on the plans, the revised plans, I included that there can be no accessory use of the accessory space. And so the revision, you will make comments that tell me what to revise exactly. It's to make the approval box larger. And on the plans I've included, I've noted that the uniform fire and building codes will be, required. So I don't,
I didn't see those on the plans, but if they're on there already, then those comments have been addressed.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, just double check to make sure those specific items listed in 3, in those bullet points, those are all on the plans as map notes. And then the resolution, which required just a couple of other changes, Noreen will email that to you, so you'll have that, and you'll have everything that's required. The other conditions are all ongoing items, that has to be owner occupied, that type of thing.
And that's not covered by the affidavit? It has to be noted on the plans?
That's in the, it's a condition of the resolution itself. Was that one of the map notes you asked for? Yeah.
They have to be on the maps, because the map is what's enforceable.
Okay, good to know, thank you. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up to the microphone, Dennis.
Mr. Manson is chairing this meeting this evening.
Dennis Fordham, Conservation Commission. With regard to the last project, I'm not familiar with it. I'm sort of familiar with that location. Are there any landscape impacts, tree impacts, wetland impacts? I'm sure they've been addressed. I was just curious.
Related to the accessory apartment?
Yes, well, the overall plans. I haven't seen the plans. I'm not familiar with the project.
There's no exterior modifications at all. It's
Okay,
all
so-
interior wall
Oh,
changes.
okay, so there's nothing exterior at all.
That's correct.
I just wasn't familiar with it. Okay,
Right.
that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, are you here for the Raywood application? Come forward.
Sorry about that. My chance was ready.
We did discuss the Raywood project in relation to extending the time for 180 days, and the board did approve that. Was there anything else that we can help you with this evening? Or is that all you were looking to review?
So it's already the board make the decision?
Yes.
For the extension.
The extension.
Extension. For lot one.
Were you here for,
I am here for that, yes.
just for that?
Yes.
It was extended, but this is the last extension?
Yes, this is, so
It
site,
was extended.
yes,
Yes.
they extended it
Oh,
for
I thought that
108.
it's not, that it didn't.
Oh, no. No, it was. It
Because
was
you weren't here.
extended, Yeah.
I saw that I'm the last on the, one before the last, so the last meeting I was sitting here till late, so I thought I can come
We were
later.
very efficient tonight. So
It was
so we
extended for 180 days. The new date is November 9th. So everything has to be satisfied by then because the site plan approval doesn't get any more extensions. You're limited to the one. And the special permit as well, only the 290 days. So I don't know what you have outstanding. I couldn't recall.
We had outstanding two things.
Okay.
One thing, the easement agreement with the town, which everything is technically final with the
Stormwater agreement?
the
Or-
easement for the parking, I think. The road, some have the agreement here. No, no. Maybe the stormwater agreement. I know that it's, the town has approved that, just some technical filings from the applicant, because they have to redo the cooperation. So.
Oh, right, I think there was a question on the ownership, or the LLC needed to update
Yes.
its paperwork with the state.
Yeah, so this is, and the other thing what I want to discuss is regarding the water, the agreement for the water with the KJ Village.
That, I believe, had been satisfied already, because the existing agreement, and you had that letter that said it covers two families as well. You had that for,
So we don't need to have a new agreement with the KJ Village?
no, for
Want
the
to clarify.
water,
For
for
the
the
water.
water agreement?
Yes.
That's already been satisfied. I think for a building permit, you'll need written approval
For the building
from the
permit.
village for the actual connection itself. But the water agreement, it's already been filed when you had the original subdivision approval, and then the village had sent that letter, I believe, let me make sure, you had provided that.
Yeah, but on the resolution, it says that it have to be filed, the new water agreement before the signage of the site plan. So I want to modify that.
Okay, so that would be appropriate. I would suggest that the board grant an amended approval, removing specific condition number 4.
Four.
Or, I'm sorry, modifying specific condition number 4 to remove the requirement that a water agreement has to be filed, because that's already been filed and a new one's not required. So instead, the agreement will just say that the approval is conditioned upon the village of Kierstrel supplying water for the two-family dwelling.
Sounds appropriate. Anyone have any comments relating to that? Is that something we need to vote on since it's an
Yes, a
amendment to the
motion to
resolution?
approve the amended resolution.
So I'll make a motion to amend the resolution as Ashley has described. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Rivera,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Aye.
Bob Garstad.
Thank
It'll
you
read,
so much.
that new condition will read, this approval is conditioned upon the village of Kierstrel supplying water for the two-family dwelling in accordance with the restrictive covenant, easement, and developer agreement previously filed in the county clerk's office on September 15th, 2021, and then I give the book and page number.
Thank you, and sorry again. I will know for the next time. Every time
Hopefully
to
you'll,
visit.
right, hopefully you'll get your finalization of that agreement so you can finish it up. We can sign plans and you can move forward.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.
So just for the minutes, if you would note for the record, Noreen, March 18th, we already approved July 11th,
Yeah, I forgot to go back through them.
December 12th, December 17th, January 9th, February 13th. So the ones that are outstanding are June 13th, which Mr. Manson promised that by the anniversary date, he will have
Did I make that
addressed-
promise?
You did.
Oh,
It was
okay.
on the March 13th minutes.
Well, then I better do that.
And then I think September 12th and September
Yeah, they're the
17th are
ones that-
yours as well.
I forgot to go back and take them off.
Okay.
Yeah, I was here, so, yeah, so maybe, so I sent the March 18th minutes. So
I
for
got the pink.
So why don't you update the agenda minutes for our next meeting? Yeah, okay. All right. And so before we adjourn, I think we'd all like to express our gratitude for Mr. Arnott's, his wisdom, his thorough reviews, and making sure that we do our job correctly. And we appreciate it, and we will miss you, but you can always come back.
Thank you
Anybody
so
else?
much. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. This meeting is adjourned.